Good evening. Welcome. Sunday night shine time in prime time. The biggest thing in New York tonight is this show. There's nothing else going on. There's no other sports to talk about. The most important thing on this Sunday in May 25th, is the New York Jets. I'm happy to have you here with me. I'm going to be joined by our guest, Dylan Tellerman, in a little bit. We're going to discuss mini camp, the OTAs that just happened, what we're looking forward to with the Jets. And of course, we'll take all your questions. You're the chat. You run this place. You guys are the best. Although this guy says different.
You know what? Nick Shine is cooking, everybody. Nick is the best Jet fan you ever met your whole life. I won't lie to you.
Welcome, my friends. It's a shine time. Shine time. It's time to talk about the Jets. Don't you know it's shine time? Shine time. It's shine time. Time to be with my friends. Hey, have you seen my toe?
It's got me.
Gentry covered in football.
Any day, any night, we all shine, bro. First class shine time, the Nick Shine Show. Anytime on YouTube, if you don't know, the Nick Shine Show, the Nick Shine Show. Dim the lights, but it's still bright as Nick time. Day or night, this is his prime, it's Nick Shine. Proud fan, well defined, so get in line. Toe to toe with any show, he only got 9. The best show on YouTube, bro, is easy. We talk Jets all day, please believe me. Subscribe, you just gotta click a family. We not a click in 3D. You can see a beautiful DP. We see through the fake teams and the tea leaves. So we pray for a coach and a QB and hope that we close to the top in the new league. A toast to the host with the most, Nicky.
Who, me?
Any day, any night, we all shine, bro. First class shine time, the Nick Shine Show. Anytime on YouTube, if you don't know, the Nick Shine Show, the Nick Shine Show.
Fantastic.
Hey, all you shiners, it's time for something cool. I'm here to do my part. I'll drop a stinky fart. No chicken soup for you. I'm gonna eat it up. And then I'll do a show and talk about the Green Hornet. I got a new laptop. You know it doesn't suck. I'll need to keep it down when I'm making too much noise. My mom will pull the plug and Dennis smack my ass, and that will surely blow. Hey, fuckers, it's time for the Nick Shine Show.
Hey, Shiners. It's a party. My house. Discord party.
It's got me.
Yo, we at Sean's crib about to turn up. Music bumping, party jumping. Please someone fill my cup. We greet each other Merry Christmas. And let the Jets suck while Bobby yells at Santa.
Shut the fuck up.
Then Gary intervenes and tells them don't be mean. Eat a stick of butter every day and you'll be lean. Then Santa runs off. I hope he left some gifts because Bobby scared him off. He's on the naughty list. This whole party's lit. Nate Clancy, many more, we hardly fit. And Addison and Weed bought that Marley spliff. I licked on my lips cause old Jenna G make my heartbeat skip. Damn Charles Gorman, was that a fart you ripped? Too much egg in you know the hot dogs and chips. Now I want my dip. Tell me where the hell is Santa? He ran so quick. I checked the bathroom and
That's right. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. Thank you for being here. We got a fun one planned for you tonight. Like I said, I'll be joined by Dylan in a few minutes. Let's get some announcements out of the way before we start cooking tonight. First off, hit the like button. It's free. It's easy. It helps the channel grow. It sends it out into the algorithm and says, hey, go check this show out. So first off, thank you for that. I don't know why everything just disappeared here. All right, let's do this. There we go. Okay, that's there. We're back. Secondly, here's what we got going on. It's Sunday night. For those of you who may not be aware, on Sunday night, all raffle entries are tripled. You give a $5 super chat, instead of one, you get 3 entries. Now, here's the cool thing. If you gift 5 memberships at any point during the show tonight, here's what we got. We have a wheel where you can get your standard 18, because I give a bonus one, which makes it 6, tripled it to 18. So that's the minimum you can get. And you can get all the way up to 100 raffle entries by gifting 5 memberships on the channel. And if you're asking, hey, Nick, what are these raffle entries for? Well, I got you. Right now, we're in the wide receivers. We've been doing it by position here. We have Santonio Holmes, full-size replica helmet. We have the mini helmet with Al Toon and Wesley Walker on the same helmet. And we have a mini Wayne Corbett helmet, which I haven't gotten the picture uploaded yet. But thank you very much. Good luck to you. That's how we roll. So, like I said, if you gift 5, I'll gift 1 on top of it. And you get to spin the wheel to see how many raffle entries you actually get. You can win up to 100. Nate saying, having your best guest on the night the Mets and Knicks are on is incredibly dumb. That being said, I expect nothing else. Well, Nate, it's a May baseball game, so it means absolutely nothing. And it's a Knicks basketball game, so it means absolutely nothing. However, good luck, and I'm sure 7th Ave will be shut down when the Pacers win. Go throw some more garbage bags at somebody in a Halliburton jersey. I know that was you. I saw the video. Nate, if you want to miss the show, you're more than welcome to. I don't think anyone in the chat will be upset if you decide, you know what, this is too much. We get it. No harm, no foul. Nate saying, whoa, ladies and gentlemen, the show is off to a hot start from our hot friend, Knob Deep, gifting 10 memberships. So, Knob, here's what we're going to do. We're going to spin it for you twice. And you can win up to 200 raffle entries with this membership. Thank you. Your 10 went to James Thurlow, Matthew Little Fuck Smith. Nope, that's just a comment. Wanted to say his name. Eric Barty, Scott Foster 23, Nick Shine, Mimosa, Kelso Porto, Mr. Bozak 122, C Diggs, Darren Crocker, and Black Jet. Knob, you are off to a fantastic start. Eric, look at that. Eric here as he gets gifted. Awesome. Welcome, Eric. So, Knob, here's what we're going to do. I owe 3 so far. I owe 2 because you gifted 5 twice. And then 1 went to my personal account, Nick Shine. So I owe 3 right now. Maybe we'll get 2 more. I'll get to 5 and I'll just get 5. If not, I'll get those 3 at the end of the show, as always. But here we go. Big moment here for Knob. We're going to shuffle it twice. 1, 2. Good luck to you, Mr. Knob. All right. You're at 24 for the first set of 5. Thank you, buddy. I appreciate you. And then we're going to spin it one more time. $24. All right. You got 48 entries, my friend. Thank you, sir. As we say in this community from the vicious Vermontonian, you're a nice guy. So good luck to you, sir. Knob just received the Thomas Jones mini helmet. Rick Kent, did you get your Curtis Martin helmet yet? We are on the wide receiver raffles. So we have a full-size Santonio Holmes helmet, a mini helmet with Al Toon and Wesley Walker on the same helmet, and we have a mini Wayne Corbett helmet. I believe it's an old white one. I didn't have the picture yet. It's still in the box. I didn't even bother opening it. But what we do is whenever you gift 5 now, you get to spin the wheel here. and you can win anywhere up to 100 raffle entries for a gift of 5. The minimum you can get is 18. It's Sunday night. Raffles are tripled, so minimum you can get is 18. You can't lose anything in the raffle. He did not receive it yet. Okay, it'll probably be there. I think we did ground shipping, so it'll probably be there. Maybe after the holiday. But as always, Rick and everyone, thank you for all your support on the channel. I like giving things away. And holy shitballs. Knob said, I am not done. I want my choice. I'm gifting 5 more. All right, Knob. Who am I to upset you? Your 5 went to Ryan Hayden, my nephew. We got the sauce. Johnny Ace, Easton Trini, and Joshua Ra. All right, Knob, you are on fire tonight, my friend. I thank you. And we're going to spin the wheel one more time for you, good sir. This is fun. I enjoy this. So far, you're at 48 raffle entries tonight, and you are now at 68. You're at, you know what? It's my show. I make the rules. I'm throwing you a bonus, and we're going to make it 69. That's a big number here on this show. So you were at 69 raffle entries, good sir. And we are not done yet. Our guest, who is joining us right now, Dylan, what's up, man?
Hey, what's up, Nick? How are you?
Welcome. I figured I'd bring you on for your raffle spin. All right. How
Absolutely.
you feeling?
Let's go for that hundo, baby.
Oh, yeah. All right. Your 5 went to Mokalita M, Havmo Iowa Jets, who I believe is here, Chris B, who is here right now, Max Styles, and Mike Kaskak. So, ladies and gentlemen, Dylan, good luck. Knob's got 69. There's no way we were leaving it at 68.
No, couldn't do that.
No. Who likes 68? You got 24, my man.
Let's go.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate you. And now I don't get on the wheel, but I owe 5 because I'll gift one for every 5 that are gifted. And let's see who gets these, and then we'll get into all of our Jets talk. We got Chris 716, who I believe is a Bills fan, Joey K, Richard Clark, Carly Fleischer, and Ray K. Awesome. Good stuff. Good start to the show, ladies and gentlemen.
Business is booming on the Nick Shine Show.
Hell yeah. It's a great community, man. They're
Absolutely.
freaking awesome.
I see the chat already showing me love. Boomtown, Nate, Matthew calling me old. I love it.
Let's see this comment. JC Buffalo Bandits 3-peat. Hey, Nick, what did we learn this weekend? Buffalo may now have the greatest professional organization in sports. 3-peat has been achieved. Is this a Arena Football League team? What are the Buffalo Bandits? I am unaware. Is it a minor league hockey team? What is the Buffalo Bandits?
It's his Madden 25 Dynasty team.
Is it?
No, I don't know.
All right.
I was so confused. I'm like, what is Buffalo won? I was like, hockey? I don't know.
I mean, they won the division, but that you don't get a banner for that.
Unless you're who was that team that did that? Oh my goodness. They were like AFC finalists and they hung a banner. I think it was like the Colts or something.
Were they?
Yeah, it was a couple
They hang a
years
banner
back.
for like the championship game?
I don't know if it was like a joke, but like it was hung for a day or two, I believe. Yeah. I'll have to look it up.
I wish I could be hung for a day or two. But I've got a sense of humor. He's like, big guy, big nose, big hands, big feet. That's it.
Hey, don't short yourself. Don't you? You got.
I didn't. God did. God already shorted me. So
Oh.
I'm just living the dream here. Nick says, when they're call-ins, need to chat about the Jets and NJ great restaurants. Later on in the show, buddy. What we do on Sunday is we have a guest. We open up to the Discord, and then we open it up to the public. So stick around or come back, and we will get into that later. All right, let's see. They have outsold 17 NBA teams and 22 NBA
It's
tickets
pro
this season.
lacrosse.
Oh, it's lacrosse. Okay, well, congratulations. Congratulations. At least Buffalo finally has some sort of champion. I'm trying to be nice. That's
Yeah, you weren't really nice to the Knicks, but you'll be nice to a Buffalo-based
I
team.
mean-
That's okay.
I'm not nice to the NBA.
That's fair.
I'm not nice
I'm
to
not
the
an NBA
NBA.
follower.
The
I've kinda
NBA has
leaned in.
ruined itself for me. It's
Yeah,
a
I've
3-point shooting contest. I will give the Knicks a little bit of credit, and this is the most credit I've ever given the Knicks. They do kind of play old school basketball. They do kind of attack the rim a little more than the rest of the league on average. So I do give a little bit of credit there. But it's the league has just become so soft, and just why play the game? Just line up your guys, have a 3-point shooting contest, and whoever wins goes home. That's what you've made the league now, with 4 guys standing on the perimeter waiting for a rotation to shoot a 3. It's not a fun watch as a fan.
Yeah, I've tried to lean into the Knicks stuff, and then as soon as I do, they go down 0-2 to Indy. So I'm leaning back out again very quickly.
Yeah, it's listen, I for all my friends out there in this community, I hope that the Knicks come back. I hope they win because I hope they're happy. When they're happy, it's more fun. You know
Mhm.
what I mean? The Discord, the conversations are more fun. So
Yeah.
I
When
hope that they are happy tonight in that regard.
Yeah, when all New York sports are doing well, it's just better, I think, for the overall sport, whatever it is, baseball, basketball, football. It's just better when New York sports are doing well.
Yeah. I mean, this is a nice surprise with the Knicks, right? Like to
Oh,
make
yeah.
the Eastern Conference Finals the first time in 25 years, there's a buzz in the city, right? Even in the surrounding, suburbs in New Jersey and other areas. And you have the Mets and the Yankees both off to good starts, both look like it's going to be a really fun summer for both fan bases, and see how long that goes into October. And then for the Jets, hopefully our season lasts longer than the Mets and the Yankee season do, and we're playing meaningful football past Thanksgiving and into December.
Yeah, isn't that tough? The Yankees weren't they in the World Series like the year or two ago, and like their season went longer than the Jets season, and it started
Last
7
year?
months earlier. It's
We
ridiculous.
we had 3 wins. Rough, man. Rough being a Jet fan.
Hopefully, we could channel some of this Knicks energy with the Jets and make a run that nobody is anticipating coming.
I like that. Now, give me your thoughts on that. Give me your thoughts on. There's obviously a big youth movement with the Jets. All right. I think everyone knows it. Everyone sees it. They've discussed it themselves. Aaron Glenn himself this week at the OTAs was bringing up that they're young. And being young doesn't necessarily mean being bad. You have to believe in young players. You got to give them an opportunity. You got to give them a chance. And every great player once started off as a young guy with inexperience. So give me your thoughts on the roster. Give me your thoughts on where we're at and where Glenn and Muji are at the beginning of their regime.
Yeah, so far with the youth movement, I mean, I'm on board. I was not an advocate of moving on from Aaron Rodgers. I think I have to say that first and foremost. But I was an advocate of, and Buffalo Jet fan kind of coined this phrase, choosing their mid at quarterback. I think they chose the right one. I mean, like, there's one that's already retired. There's just ones like Kirk Cousins who are still kind of lingering out there in like purgatory, don't really have a spot on their current team and might not have a spot on anybody else's team. So Justin Fields felt like the A1 choice to replace Rodgers with, not from a talent perspective, but from a let's capture this guy and hope to get his ceiling out of him. And then with the rest of the roster, yeah, Rich Cimini pointed it out. We finished the season the 8th oldest last year, and now we're 29th oldest at this point of the season. We only have 5 guys entering their age 30 season or older. Tyrod Taylor, Thomas Hennessy, Alan Lazard, Josh Reynolds, and Zach Bailey. Now, Josh Reynolds and Zach Bailey haven't turned 30 yet, or Alan Lazard and Zach Bailey, haven't turned 30 yet. I don't know if they make it to the roster by the time they turn 30. Lazard's birthday is December 11th, so he would have to make it through the trade deadline. And Zach Bailey, I don't even know if he makes the – yeah, seriously. Take him and his soccer ball away.
Yeah.
Zach Bailey, he turns 30 on November 8th, and I don't know if he even makes the 53-man roster. So you're looking at Tyrod Taylor, who's a backup, who's only going to play in basically emergency situations if
Yeah.
Fields is hurt. Thomas Hennessy, who's the longest tenured Jet, right before Quinnen Williams, and he's a long snapper, so very low risk of losing him for the season, and just a very solid person. But Josh Reynolds is the third, so you're looking at only 3 guys potentially who are going to be 30 or older. The Jets might be one of the youngest teams and get even younger before we get to the season. So I'm in favor of it. Obviously, Glenn said you can't be afraid to play the young guys, and he also said that we can get guys who fit our system and fit what we want to do to make us better as a football team. And if they just so happen to be younger, that's a double benefit. He said we obviously will add people who are 30 or older, like Zadarius Smith or Jadeveon Clowney comes to mind for me, somebody on the edge that is already 30 plus that could give us some juice. But all in all, man, this youth movement, it speaks to, one, the confidence that the coaching staff has in themselves, the confidence that they have in a lot of the players they brought in, because they kind of have to thread the needle, right? Justin Fields, Andre Cisco, Brandon Stevens, they didn't have great 2024 campaigns with their former teams. They got to have a bounce back with the Jets, and now you're putting a lot of eggs in your developmental coaching baskets, like Tanner Engstrand, Dre Bly, the DB's coach, Aaron Curry, the linebackers coach, even, because you still have 2 young guys with Sherwood, Barnes. You drafted Mauanoa from Miami. So you got to do a lot of threading the needle with the coaching and the development. But if even 40 to 60% of those things hit, this might be a team that really surprises people and blows that 5.5 win projection out of the water. I think we get to the season and it's probably 6.5, maybe, closer to 7, maybe even 7.5, depending on how things go the rest of the summer. But 5.5 to me should be very easy to clear, just based on the confidence that everybody has. So the youth movement, to me, it's going to be a good thing for the Jets, more than a worse thing.
I think 5.5 is. I think we hit 6 before Thanksgiving. After that Atlanta game, I think that's our 6th win. I think we're 3 or 4 wins at the bye. We're either 3-5 or 4-4 at the bye. And then coming out of the bye, you got Cleveland at New England, then you play Baltimore, then it goes Atlanta, Jacksonville, Miami has to come up here. So with Atlanta and Miami up here back to back, and then New Orleans and Jacksonville back to back before New England comes here, and then Buffalo. Yeah, I got it memorized already. So that's off the top of the dome.
That's crazy.
But I think we can win 4 before the bye and maybe 4 after, if not maybe a 5th, right? I think games that really stand out are that short week going to New England. That's a big one, because if you can beat Cleveland out of the bye and then win that game, 2 games in 4 days out of the bye, you're in a really, really good spot. You took your bye. It's something that, and now the reason I'm saying this, anyone who's watched these Jets the last several years with Bowles and Saleh and Gase, we have not performed well with extra days off. So to think that we could possibly, in a new regime, you want to change the culture, you want to change the stigma of the New York Jets, win after the fucking bye. Win 2 games in a week, in 5 days after the bye, and fans will be like, holy shit, there is a change going on here. We're 6-4 after 10 games. Holy crap. Now we got more extended time off after winning those 2 to go to Baltimore. I'm not expecting to beat Baltimore. I'm not saying we will. But you're going to be in a good position mentally if you're 6-4 going into Baltimore. Say they're 7-3. Say Buffalo 7-3 at that time, and you can be considered a contender. You lose that game 23-20, 2017, and it comes down to the final thing. You're not a laughing stock anymore. You go into Baltimore with a winning record and compete with them, I tell you what, expectations are going to go through the fucking roof, because the schedule after Baltimore will now be predicted win, 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 win. We can go on a run. Speaking of run, Justin Fields, they okayed the tush push. You're going to use it, right? You have to.
Yeah.
You have to
You
use
gotta
it. If
use
you have a quarterback of his size and power, you have to use it. Give me your thoughts on that in the vote this week, and then the way the Jets went with their vote and your thoughts. And real quick, before you get going,
Sure.
if you guys have not already, you're missing out. I'm sharing Dylan's YouTube page in the chat right now. We're going to pin that message. So take a moment, click on that, go support Dylan. He's popping out a lot of videos. He's one of my favorite people to listen to and talk football with. It's his first time on the show here, and hopefully not the last. Hopefully we collaborate a lot more going forward with both channels. And please go show him support. He's awesome. He's a really hot up and coming guy here in Jets YouTube world. And of course, Nate will promote it all the time over my channel. Thank you, Nate. But
Nate
yeah,
Dogg. I love you,
Dylan's
Nate
great.
Dogg. That's great. No,
Oh, you think Nate? People think Nate and I were gonna like kill each other, but like it's an interesting dynamic.
yeah, I thought his first message was serious, and then it quickly turned into obviously jokes and love and everything. So that's funny. But my biggest goal for the channel, and I know the chat will help support this, is I don't need the Nick Shine treatment that you gave Bobby Midnight. I'm hoping to get all those subscribers on my own. So I'm doing well.
You're
so
also
far.
a working person, and you have other sources
Oh
of
yes,
income
I have
and
a
revenue, and you're
full-time job.
yeah.
Yes.
So I had to help my buddy out because
100%.
it's a unique set of circumstances with Bob.
Yes, but for the
So-
first week, it's been nothing but love. I appreciate everybody who's tuned in. I got one bad comment, and you get those. You're not going to satiate everybody,
You
and I
can't please
understand
everyone.
that.
You
There
gotta
was
have
actually
you
some-
gotta have thick skin, man. Even
Yeah,
people
exactly.
like Nate, who are friends and support, are still, always poking and prodding at videos and your takes. So, dude, just keep pumping out the content and don't worry about it. There's 1 out of 50 comments that don't agree with you. Hey, thanks for watching the video, man. Hope you give it another shot. Maybe you'll agree with my next take. Kill
That
them
was
with kindness,
literally
dude.
That
They're
was
looking
literally
to
the
argue.
answer I gave. Yep. Thanks
Yeah,
for
perfect.
watching. Salute
Well done.
emoji. And it was like a college thesis about how wrong I was about Justin Fields' confidence. And I'm like, I didn't even say he's not a confident player. I just don't think he played with a ton of confidence because of maybe the coaching staff putting him in disadvantageous situations. So
Yeah.
speaking of Fields, obviously, and let me go back to the schedule real quick. Baltimore, Buffalo twice, and Cincinnati. If you just called them guaranteed L's, we're 0-4 with those 4 games. You have 13 games left on your schedule. If
Yeah.
you go 6-7 or 7-6, you've already beat the expectation of
Yeah.
5.5 games. So like this projection of 5.5 just doesn't sit well with me. So that's kind of the narrative I've been saying is let's go 6-7 outside of those games. And if you end up splitting with Buffalo or you play competitive and win against Cincinnati and you at least go into Baltimore and show some life, like you said, that 5-game stretch opens up and you can really do some things in November, December, and early January. So
And now say you
I'm
take
just
one of those games, right? Like
Yeah.
some of the games that I look at the schedule, and I'm like, all right, that could be a season-changing game. The short week in New England at Cincinnati, right? That's a game where we do well. I expect this defense to be better. I expect the secondary to be better. We're going to be able to rush the passer. We're going to be blitzing. The things that we do well matches up with what Cincinnati wants to do. They want to throw the ball downfield. They want to air it out. That means you're holding the ball longer. That means Will McDonald, Jermaine Johnson, Quinnen, and others, and blitzing, because we're going to be creative. It's not going to be 4 in the grass anymore and go. We're gonna do some things that other teams do to us, and why couldn't we block that? Oh, we sent more than they can block. That's how we got there. When you're getting to 3rd and 12, you're not sitting back in some soft ass zone and hoping that they throw it underneath and you make the tackle like we saw the Jets do time and time again. That's where you send the pressure. You get up in the guy's face, man to man, and say, you know what, bitch, beat me. Or we're gonna send 6 if you have 5 in the block, and good luck. So it's a game where we match up well, right? We know we're going to be good up front on the offensive line. Cincinnati has not been a very good defensive line. So
Their
again,
trenches are bad.
our strength goes against a weakness. And that's what we have to exploit, whether it's with Hall, whether it's Allen, whether it's trickery with Corley, or it's Fields with bootlegs, RPOs. What do you see Justin Fields doing as a runner? Let's just talk about that to start.
Yeah, as a runner, I mean, I want the tush push. They voted to keep it, and I was an advocate of that because as soon as you get a guy with the stature of Justin Fields, you kind of think, Jalen Hurts light. Obviously, he's not Jalen Hurts. He can't squat 600 plus pounds, and Jalen Hurts is just like an ox of a quarterback. But if Justin can give you like a 50% of that, and he's not getting used a ton, but 12 total sneak pushes in his career since 2021 is the third most behind Allen and Hurts. If you did that maybe 25 times all season, so maybe like 1.5, 1 2/3 per game, I think that's plenty for him as far as just the sneak push.
Yeah.
And you talked about the Bengals; they're bad up on the defensive line right now. So like that's a defensive line you could definitely exploit, considering how good our offensive line is looking like it's going to be. Obviously, now that they have all 5 pieces. Now, when it comes to like the zone running and stuff like that, I would love to see zone read concepts. Maybe kind of mirroring the Commanders offense. I know Connor Rogers did a video on Badlands about it, and I'm totally in agreement. I have that book by Bobby Peters coming on my Amazon list. Now it's in the mail. So I'm hoping that, we learn a little bit from what Cliff Kingsbury has done. And I was an advocate of bringing him in as the coach over Aaron Glenn, even because I wanted an offensive mind. So
that was the biggest shock to me this offseason, that he didn't get a head coach interview. He didn't take one, or he turned down. I didn't hear him even requested. But that, to me, with what he did, if you have a young quarterback, how the hell is he not at the top of the list?
Right. I think he himself kind of did the Kobe, shout out Mamba up here, and he said job's not finished. And he wants to see this thing through with Jaden Daniels and the offense that he currently has. They just added Deebo Samuel. So they got some nice pieces. But yeah, he was definitely one to me that I was like, all right, we got to go get him. But zone read stuff, you got to take advantage. Justin Fields, not only will he run through you, he'll run away from you. There's so many clips, and you go all the way back to Ohio State. I remember there was a play where he's running 60 yards downfield to make a block for his wide receiver, and then he's just sprinting with the guy to the end zone. So he has the speed to break away as well. I would love to see them be very efficient with his running ability. I don't want to see him getting 12 to 15 carries a game. Give that to the guy number 20 behind you or number 0 behind you, because I think those guys are going to really carry the load in the run game. So I would just want to be more efficient with Justin Fields running. Don't make him a run first guy. Let's go build the confidence of his pass game, and then we can use him as a runner. So just from the run element, I want to just be efficient, not necessarily spam him every third down. I think Breece Hall can get three feet and get that yard. Braylon Allen can do the same thing, but we got to use the sneak push as well. So there's going to be a ton of different elements, but efficiency is the one I come back to with the running.
Yeah. I mean, I've coached. I've had to draw up schemes. If I'm looking at the Jets scheme to open up the running game, I'm going shotgun with Braylon Allen on one side, Breece Hall on the other, and then you do an RPO, and then you roll out the other way. And then say you do Allen, the RPO with Allen coming this way. You either have Breece lead blocking and him following, and then you pull it and go with Fields. There's one option. You can also fake it with one of them and then have the other one drag underneath and now have them jump out to the flat where it's a one-read throw, right? You drag the tight end, Taylor, maybe about 10 yards downfield. Someone goes deep. You have Hall in the flat and Fields running. They cover Hall, you run it right up the gut. And maybe break one. They come up on you, bloop, dump it over, give Hall the chance to run. There's so many options and layers, and you can keep peeling layers as the season goes on. Something that aggravated the hell out of me last year. We never got to see what the scheme was going to be because it was always being manipulated at the line. So when you draw up a play as a coordinator, there's a purpose to the play. You're trying to run routes to maybe open up another guy in a certain area. Now, when you get to the line of scrimmage and the quarterback is changing all of these routes, you never get a true read on what the scheme is. And when you're manipulating all the routes and doing your signals to 2 seconds left on the play clock, sometimes you didn't even get the goddamn play off. You're telling everyone in the world this is a pass. When you come out and you don't do any of that, you're telling the defense this is a run. And when you have the size, the speed of NFL defenders nowadays, you cannot dictate what you're running and just think you're good enough. People like the Jets line couldn't block last year. No, Breece Hall couldn't get going because there was no unpredictability to the offense. Everyone knew what we were going to run based off of all the gestures or the lack thereof. It's going to be fun to watch play get called, go to line, run play, go back to the huddle, get the next play. It's good because when you're a coordinator, you might run something mid-first quarter to set up something mid-third quarter. you get that taken away. You're basically handcuffed and just saying, "All right, Rodgers, wing it."
Yep.
Like,
Hey, I,
you
I call
weren't
that.
able to get a scheme. You weren't able to attack. You weren't able to build a game plan. You weren't able to manipulate the defense. It's a huge thing in the NFL. If I'm playing linebacker and I see a fake and I step right, and now you get me going with that tight end dragging, and now I'm in chase mode instead of reading the play and beating him. That's how plays happen in the NFL. You got to get someone going in the wrong direction, hit them in the misdirection, and that's why you see such big gains when those types of plays happen because they're buying into what you did. You gave Brees Hall a stretch. You gave Brees Hall a stretch. Oh, now you booted with RPO and Justin Fields breaks one for 30 yards or takes it the distance. There's levels to it. And I'm looking forward to see what Engstrand and Turner, whose dad is the architect of one of if not the greatest
Yes.
rushing offenses of all time. Like, and that's a guy that you can call up and be like, "Hey, Dad, hey, I've been waiting for this phone call, son. I sent you the email. This is how I attack that scheme
Yep.
against Buffalo." Like, that's a great resource for us to have, and it can be an exciting run game. Go Google Justin Fields running highlights. Go look at Brees Hall's running highlights when we were running the ball and not manipulating the routes at the line of scrimmage. I know my coffee's hitting right now, so give me
No,
your
you're
thoughts
no,
on that.
you're
I got to
fine.
kind of shout out to
I
Tim
call
Hortons Maple.
I call that play calling with a purpose. And that's
Yeah.
something we haven't really seen since Mike LaFleur. And I understand nobody likes to talk about Mike LaFleur anymore, but he would put defenders in conflict. He would choose one of your second layer defenders and he says, okay, this is the conflict defender. We're going to manipulate the run scheme to get out in space and make this guy have to make a decision. And we have answers based on either decision that conflict defender makes. If the outside linebacker on the play side starts drifting out past the hashes, we cut it up the middle. I think of the Brees Hall play against the Packers. Brees Hall was supposed to take that outside. That was not designed for him to step up, put his left foot in the ground, cut up the field and go.
Yeah.
But he scored a touchdown on that drive because the conflict defender chose wrong and Brees recognized, but the play design put that conflict defender in a
It
box.
made everybody flow that way,
Yes.
and that's why he outran 7 guys.
Exactly. It almost looks like it's a photoshopped picture with all the defenders that are chasing him on that
There was
play.
no downfield blocking. Everyone read the play, thought they were going that way. But that's the greatness that Brees brings to the table. And when you commit to the run and you constantly do it and you don't change it, your offensive line gets in a rhythm. It's going to be a lot easier for the offensive line to get to the line of scrimmage and not try to figure out who am I blocking now because we just changed the play 6 times in 12 seconds.
Less false starts.
Yes. It's
Mhm.
going to be get to the line. There's the mic. All right. Boom. We attack. And then we pummel them. It's
Yep.
it,
So
it
the
says
first
a lot,
quarter,
man.
the first quarter of every game is supposed to be discovery, right? It's like the first day on a construction job. You pull everything up, you demo everything, and you discover what's underneath. That's what you're doing with your game plan. The offense is trying to figure out what to do against the defense. The defense is trying to figure out what to do against the offense. And then the second and third quarters, you're implementing your schemes and seeing what has worked in the first quarter.
Yeah.
And then the fourth quarter is a lot more adjustments, but you're adjusting throughout the entire game. I don't like the narrative of, okay, we go into halftime, we adjust and we make our changes, and whoever adjusts to the adjustments better wins the second half. No, your good coaching staffs adjust the entire game. You come off the field on that first drive, you see what worked, you see what didn't, you implement it. Maybe you turn that outside zone handoff into an RPO flat screen to the tight end, like you were saying before. And that's how you just add new wrinkles. So when, like you said, when you have Aaron Rodgers at the line, you have a run concept called that's supposed to open up a pass concept in the second or third quarter, and then you change it to a pass play. There is no opening up, and now you've become way too one-dimensional. So that, to me, is going to be the biggest differentiator in offensive coaching from Engstrand to Nate Hackett and Todd Downing is he's going to have players that are buying in and that are going to execute the play as called, not call 4 or 5 different hot routes and throw the ball when there's 1 second left on the play clock and call hike. So I think there's a lot of positive elements that come out of it. But yeah, we need to see a real coaching staff game plan and scheme. And I think we might actually get that.
I'm looking forward to it. You know, there's something to be said about getting to the line, and when your offensive line is in a rhythm and blocking well, snapping that ball with 15 seconds left before the defense can adjust, before the defense can make their adjustments, and just get that offensive line when they're bullying guys and the run game's getting 5 yards, 8 yards, 10 yards, 9 yards. They want to keep doing that, man. You see, that's when the offensive linemen are pumped up and like
Oh,
they're picking the running back up and like you'll see some of them, not on our team, but others like run it again, run it again. Like they'll be
Oh, yeah.
signaling to the sideline like we got this. They can't get past us. When
I want Brees
Go
to
ahead.
do the Zeke Elliott this year. Let me eat. I
Yeah.
get 6 yards on first down. Please hand it to me again.
I
Don't
want Brees to lead the
stray.
league in rushing. Like
Oh,
I
yeah.
want in attempts and yards. Here's why.
Yep.
He could be his last year as a Jet.
Yeah.
Run him till the wheels fall off. He doesn't have an extension. A lot of teams don't believe in extending running backs. Run him till the wheels come off. Give him 20 a game, if not more. We should be running the ball 30 to 35 times a game, minimum. Some days when it's great matchups, probably even more. But when you have Hall, you have Fields, you have Allen, you can go 28, 5. There's 33 attempts right there. And then you mix in a gadget play here or there. Davis might get 2 a game or something like that. Maybe Corley gets 1. You're going to run the ball a ton with this team. But if
Yeah,
you're
and
Brees Hall,
Brees
you're
didn't
not
get
worried
any
about
carries.
Brees' future, right?
No, and Brees never got 20 plus carries last season in a
Once.
single game, which is just absolutely malpractice from the coaching staff, but also from Aaron Rodgers.
Yes.
You can't sit here and talk about how good Brees is, and then you throw him that fade ball in week 2 against the Titans because he told you to throw it to him. It's not because he wanted to throw it to him, and then just ignore him in the backfield because you want to throw the ball 600 times this season to break 500 touchdowns, and you barely did it. You ended with 502 or 503, and it took the last game of the season putting up 32 points. If you ran a full
Against a team that quit as soon as they saw that Denver
didn't
was
even play their
beating
starters.
Kansas City. They quit
Yeah,
midway through the
yep.
first quarter.
Yeah,
It was
didn't even play
14
their
nothing in
starters
Denver,
for most of
Kansas
it.
City. And Dolphins players stopped going, Tyreek and others stopped going out on the field. Like, it's not worth it at this point.
Yes, exactly.
That was the game we scored. That and against the 32nd ranked Jaguars are the only time we scored 30 points. A team that quit and a team that can't play.
Exactly. So yeah, that's the biggest differentiator to me. And the one thing I'll say about just being so basic, anytime they came out under center with Braylon Allen on the field, it was like telegraphed that the ball is going to number 0. I've charted almost every offensive play since Zach Wilson's rookie year, and I see all the trends. Like, it's disgusting how truly predictable the offense was. And it's not just Hackett and Downing, it's Rodgers too. He was very predictable, and that was not what I was, thinking we were signing up for with Rodgers. So the unpredictability, the balance of two-dimensional football play, like all these things are going to make us a more well-rounded offense. And if you can get from 28th to 18th or 20th in the league, that is going to be such a vast improvement across the board that you, like we said at the top, you're going to smash the 5.5 prediction probably by Thanksgiving.
Yeah. And we should be able to. When offensive coordinators are calling plays, right? We see it. We see the head coaches on the sideline. They got their chart. They're making their marks when they call the play, right? They're putting either the plus play, a minus play, whatever they're doing. They're making a note. So later on, when they have, you see the screenshots and the captures of it, and they have plays color coded and charted up together. There's a reason to that. It's because we're going to use this play, this group of plays in this situation. Now, those plays can all complement one another. So if I do the RPO to Hall on one play and I keep it and I run it, now there's another play off of that where I roll out and now we drag tight end 5 to 10 yards downfield, a deep route, and then like a crossing post, like 20 yards. You got to run the first play to make the second play work. And then you give it to Hall now, and he keeps it, and he goes because they think that Fields is going to keep it because he kept it the last 2 times. There's rhyme and reasoning, and all the assistants who are up in the booth watching. Okay, this linebacker bit on that play. We can go back to that later. Like, they're making notes to give the coordinator, and when the defense is on the field, all right, you ran this, they bit. We can attack this guy with this play here later in the road. Keep that one. Put that bullet in the chamber. That's coaching. And we didn't have that. And we got that ripped away from us. We don't know how many times Hall was supposed to get the ball and it got taken away from him. We don't know how many times Garrett was supposed to run a 15-yard in or a 15-yard comeback route and that got taken away from him. So you don't want a guy like Garrett Wilson getting the ball at, behind, or only 5 yards downfield. He's not a big
Mhm.
body receiver. You
Mhm.
want him 15 yards downfield, beat the corner, make the safety miss, take it the distance. We never got to see that. We
Yeah.
never got to see that. And I'm happy that we moved on from Rodgers for many reasons. And I feel if we would have kept him, I feel that we would have lost Garrett. I think Garrett would have demanded a trade. Garrett's not the type to show up a veteran like that on the sideline, but anybody who saw Garrett Wilson's face could say this guy is not happy because he's
Mhm.
tired of the routes getting taken away from him for little quick screens. It's
Yeah, to go
it's
from
going to be a new day.
23 targets against the Vikings to then 26 in the final 4 games combined is just, again, malpractice for Garrett Wilson, and that's unacceptable. The first play of the regular season, I want the Jets like pass concept to be, is the 8 to 12 yard back shoulder to Garrett Wilson when you identify one-on-one coverage on the outside, because it's going to open up Garrett to then do the yards after catch and get away and be shifty and creative, but it's also going to create confidence for Justin Fields. And I'm not going to say that he lacks confidence, but I don't think the coaching staff pumped him full of confidence enough to be able to thrive in Chicago or Pittsburgh. They're asking him basically to be a game manager or above average game manager sometimes. And I don't think that's what he is. He is better when he can see the whole field. He can make all the throws. He doesn't necessarily do the Zach Wilson where he throws it 100 miles an hour every single time. But he doesn't necessarily layer it
That
and
doesn't
feather
work?
it over. No, it absolutely doesn't work. And it doesn't work when you throw the ball at Kenny Yeboah's ass and then blame Kenny Yeboah for it. So
Yeah.
Justin Fields isn't going to like feather the ball over that second level defender's head and drop it in the bucket before the safety or anything like that. There's elements of that in his game, but he can make every throw on the
Yeah.
field, especially the deep stuff. So yeah, Garrett to me needs to become that intermediate to deep route runner. And then Arian Smith is another guy who I'm like kind of soft circling as like, he might be an X factor. Obviously, he needs to get his hands working a little bit better. And there's a lot of concentration drops. There are some bad throws from Carson Beck on the Georgia film from last year, but it was also
There
his first
a lot.
full
I
season.
call Carson. I'm a Georgia fan. I call Carson Beck Mark Sanchez of college. Make a
I don't-
beautiful throw in tight window. How the hell did he do that?
Yep.
Miss a wide open guy by 5 yards. Like, why the hell did he do that? Like, that's to me what I saw with Beck as a Georgia fan.
Yeah, after
Great
being
throws, like mind-boggling, eye-opening throws. This guy is going to be
Mhm.
a great player, and then miss wide open guys. Man, he's the Sanchez of college.
Yeah, it's crazy how he went from being projected number 1 in the 2025 way too early mocks, him and Quinn Ewers, to having to go back to school because the evaluators didn't give him a good enough grade for him to want to come out of college. So it's going to be interesting to see what Arian Smith does with potentially a better quarterback when it comes to accuracy perspective. So I'm in favor of Justin Fields being allowed to throw it all over the yard. Don't just throw it 20 yards down the field on the boundary only, where it's an incomplete pass at worst, or, the ball floats out of bounds if it's inaccurate. No, you got to be able to take your shots over the middle to Mason Taylor, your guy, Jeremy Ruckert from college. Like, all these guys need to become part of the offense. And again, it goes back to last year, and I hate just comparing it, but the same players are here for the most part. There's only a couple different additions. Like Arian Smith on offense, I feel like is the only, and Mason Taylor, but you kind of replace Conklin with Taylor. So it's like kind of a 1-for-1 in my opinion, but there's no like new faces where you have to scheme things open. So everything's going to be open for Inkstrand, and building an NFL caliber scheme to me is just going to be, if it's a slow play for the first 6 to 8 weeks while they get going, I'm okay with that, because the back end of the season, when they've run those concepts and they understand what works, and Fields knows, okay, against a too high shell, I know I can throw this corner route against the soft cloud cover 2 corners and beat him before the safety gets out to the side. I think that is what's going to lead this team to more success in the future than any player development. It's going to be scheme based first.
Yeah. And the thing I like with the offense, everyone is fascinated with fantasy and stats and wide receiver 2.
Yeah.
If you look at the New England Patriots when they went on their run of winning Super Bowl after Super Bowl after Super Bowl, never really had a great wide receiver cast, right? They had the year they had their best receivers with Welker and Moss, they didn't fucking win. So when they were winning with guys like Deion Branch, everyone complemented one another, right?
Mhm.
Everyone serves a purpose in the scheme. Arian Smith, he's the guy to take the top off. Lazard, he's your physical guy, right? He might be your over the middle guy with his size and his length. Josh Reynolds, your veteran wide receiver, right? Like jack of all trades, but not great at anything.
Mhm.
Corley should be your screen receiver guy, gadget player. Uh, Garrett is your superstar. So everyone should have a purpose. Your tight ends, right? Rucker can block and then get out into the flat. Taylor should be able to stretch the defense a little bit. Everyone, and then you got Brees Hall coming out of the backfield, right? To me, send guys deep, swing it to Brees, let him make the first guy miss, and convert a lot of first downs for you. Everyone serves a purpose. Everyone in the wide receiver room, and even with the tight ends, if you look at the guy on each side of you, all right, I can't do what he does at certain things. He can't do what I do. That's where you can really build the scheme because now you're building it to the skill set of the players that you have. You're not just winging it. You're not just adjusting routes, just trying to find a sweet spot 6 yards down. You're running the plays and designing the plays based off of what these guys can do effectively. And that's going to be a major difference for us. We're going to see them get to the line of scrimmage and call the play and run the play and be like, holy shit, how come we couldn't do it last year? Well, that's why we couldn't do it last year because we
Yeah.
weren't running the plays as designed. We were tweaking it to personal comfort instead of running the designed attack. And NFL is the major sport where coaching and design matter. NBA, for example, you have a guy who can just beat the guy off the dribble, get to the rim, you clear it out. Did you coach well? No. You just said, hey, let's give it to him, let him create. All right. Baseball, guy bats. All right. Maybe once in a while you pinch hit a guy because you're being told to based off the analytics, but there's very little that managers do besides making a pitching change. But all of that now is based off of analytics where they're saying
Mhm.
this amount of pinches, we go to him. This batter, we go to him. You're not really designing shit.
Mhm.
NFL, everything has a purpose. Every little movement, the way a guard steps to the left will mean one thing, or step it to the right. There's so many things where you can
It's hand
try to
placement. Yep.
implement your will. Yeah, your hand placement, your step, if when you're booting, like how the line blocks on certain plays. Like you try to create every little nuance to not give away what you're doing and trick the other team into what they think you might do, and then you hit them with the opposite. So I'm looking forward to see what these guys have designed.
Mhm.
I know none of us right now, even the most optimistic Jet fan, me, does not believe Justin Fields is the answer long term.
Mhm.
Do I believe that these guys can devise a scheme that makes him look better than he's looked in Pittsburgh and Chicago? Yes, I do.
Mhm.
Is that a high bar to clear? No, it's not. But he's got a better offensive line than he's had in his career. He's got a better running back than he's had in his career. And arguably with DJ Moore, you could say he's got one of, if not the best receiver. But he's also got that college rapport with Wilson
Mhm.
and Ruckert, who, listen, if Ruckert has 25 catches on the season and 4 touchdowns, I think we're all going to be ecstatic about the jump that he took as a player, right?
Yeah, 100%. And,
So
and
why
just to your
can't
point,
they do that?
oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, no, the entire supporting cast, even Engstrand, has potential to be the best Justin Fields has had in his NFL career. Matt Nagy, he
Right.
was okay in Kansas City. He went to Chicago, he fell flat. You know, he had to go back to Kansas City because it wasn't working. Much like the failed Jets coaches
He did
from
make the
last season.
playoffs twice and win a game with Mitch Trubisky at quarterback.
Yes, he did do that. I don't know if it was
Twice!
offensive. Yeah, I don't know if it was led by the offense, but yes, I do. Yes, there's merit to that. But then he had Luke Getsy, who replaced Matt Nagy as the OC. He then went on to Vegas and has been fired from both spots. And then he had Arthur Smith. And the Jets tried to do the Arthur Smith thing so many times in the past 2 years. And I was never an advocate for Arthur Smith. And we saw why. All he does is ask his quarterback to be a game manager. He can't utilize his weapons like tight ends and running backs, like Freiermuth, Pickens, and Najee Harris. That is a decent trio where you don't necessarily need a wide receiver too. Garrett Wilson, Mason Taylor, Brees Hall, same thing. Coaching is going to then make it so that wide receiver 2 is not so important where we had to go out and buy a pork roll, egg, and cheese for Mike Williams or trade for Devontae Adams midseason because our quarterback needed that wide receiver 2 so desperately. Give him the compliment of, okay, yeah, we have a really good wide receiver, but then we have a really good tight end and back to complement instead. So I think that opens up your offense a lot more than having 2 quality wide receivers. So the wide receiver 2 discussion, to me, I've projected it's Josh Reynolds at this point because of the familiarity with the coaching staff and even the front office with Muji in Denver last year. So I'm not expecting a ton of production from wide receiver 2. But when it comes to Breece, yes, most attempts, most yards. I want to see him tops of the league in those categories. And then 33rd team just put out a stat that he led the league in 2024 in angle, flare, and wheel routes. Okay, that sounds like that's his bread and butter, right? He had 330 yards doing that last year with a player that didn't really want to throw him the ball too much. Justin Fields is going to throw that ball way more often than not. So big things for Breece Hall, and that's going to, if the Jets choose to franchise tag him, that's cool. They choose to let him walk and we get a comp pick because he gets a big contract after a big year. Again, that's cool too. So you just leave yourself open for way more positive possibilities when you are able to coach and scheme your guys favorably.
Yeah, I think we're going to know very early in this season what the coaching staff has in store for Breece Hall. If we see those first 2 games and Breece Hall is your guy, you're throwing it to him 10 times a game, you're giving it to him 20 in the run, you're going to see how much they value Breece. If it's 50-50 with Hall and Allen and carries, and it's not, you're going to see a guy who may very well get shipped off by the trade deadline if we're out of it. So I mean, it's one of the more intriguing storylines for the season, right? Like,
Yes.
how does Fields develop and how does he improve as the season goes on in this scheme? How do the Jets move the ball? Do they throw the ball downfield? Are they just power? Is it vanilla? Or are they starting to be a little cute with it and trust Fields to make the reads and the throws downfield, right, in tough situations? How's Breece Hall utilized? How's Jermaine Johnson come back? To me, those are the storylines, right? That preseason you're looking at with the Jets and can make or break. And the other one, obviously, how does Membu mold with the offensive line and what level do they get to? Like, those are the storylines that we're looking at. Another one that I'm really interested in, Will McDonald put on 15 pounds of muscle. A lot of fans were down on Will because they're saying he's not built to play every down. He's just going to be a pass rush specialist. We see a lot of players who come in from college transform their bodies, usually maybe year 1 to year 2 or year 2 to year 3. A transformation's taken place. We hope that it doesn't affect his speed. We know that he can get upfield past guys, and when he does, he can then hit that spin move and crash down on the pocket really quick. You pair that with maybe a little more pressure on the back end, and I've predicted that Will McDonald will have 15 sacks this season. I'm going big on Will. He was off to a great start last year. I think with being creative and I think with freeing him up, because he's a guy you want to scheme to be free, crashing in on a Josh Allen. You want him chasing Lamar. You want him going at these quarterbacks, a Drake May. You want Will being the guy free, chasing him down, right? Give me your thoughts on Will, where he was, where he is now with the weight, and what that could mean going forward in the season.
Well, first, I love the prediction of 15, 1 sack per every pound gained.
That's it.
But yeah,
I didn't even know that when I made the prediction last week.
That's great. Hand up.
I hope he gains 25. Put 10 more on for game 1, buddy.
Yeah, get us up there into those
Set the
Gastineau
record.
numbers. That would be incredible. But hand up. A couple of days ago, I did underrated Jets for 2025, and Will McDonald was on the list. And I said, I was like, at his current play weight, you cannot put him on 1st and 10 to set the edge opposite Jermaine Johnson. You're going to have to rely on a Michael Clemens, a Tyler Barron, or a potential new addition to the defensive line, whether, again, that's Zadarius Smith, Jadeveon Clowney, somebody who has experience setting the edge. Now we got new information. He's up 15 pounds from 236 to in the 250s, we would assume now. And they'll update that in a couple weeks when they take their minicamp physicals. But now the expectation is you are a 3-down player. You are an every down player in this defense. Yeah. You can hold down the fort until Jermaine Johnson gets back. Yes, the opposite player across from Will McDonald is going to be not up to Jermaine Johnson's caliber. But then when you get Jermaine back 100%, you feel way more confident in your edge setters. And then your pass rush juice, I don't think, 15 pounds for Will McDonald is going to make him, running like he's running through like wet concrete or anything like that. I don't think he's going to slow down that much. He might lose like a quarter of a step, but that doesn't matter because his bend, his length is so, I don't want to use the word elite because I feel like that's a little over the skis for a third-year player.
Notch.
But
how about top notch? I like that.
It's that next tier down where it's top notch.
It's noticeable.
Pro.
You can tell that he's got a different step than a lot of other people playing the same position.
Yeah, it's probably all pro, like one step away from all pro. So Pro Bowl level caliber edge, like bend and length. So to me, the expectation is, 10 plus sacks. He had 2.5 in the last 10 games of the season. So a lot of his production came in the beginning of the season. If you span that out over, a full season, I don't think, it's so weird that the drop off in production on defense, they just gave up. Let's just call it what it is. When Saleh was fired in week 5, a lot of those guys threw in the towel. They played for themselves to go get a new contract with the new team, kind of like DJ Reed did. And they were just kind of independent contractors. They weren't playing as a unit. Now you have that ability to harness everybody's talent back in again. Will McDonald next to Quinnen Williams could be a very scary duo on this D-line. So I would project 12 and a half sacks for Will McDonald, but I do think his edge-setting presence is going to be tenfold better than what it was. So my expectations now have gone through the roof for Will McDonald, and I do think he can compete to be a Pro Bowl player, maybe even a Pro Bowl alternate, but in year 3, after the reactions that we had 3 years ago when he was drafted, after the lackluster first season with 2.5 sacks or whatever it was, he boomed in his second year. Now you put on weight and you don't lose that speed. Let's boom up again, and we can get 2 big booms for Will McDonald. So I'm very excited, and I think the slim down number, taking one of the 9s off, is going to make him look a little bit faster on the edge, even though he is also bigger. So I'm really excited for Will McDonald. He's one of those X factor players on defense where if he hits, a lot of things will change for this projection of the defense and the expectation for the defense as a whole. You mentioned it earlier. We're going to send 5 or 6 blitzers more often than just a 4-man pressure. We're going to play man coverage on the back end. We're going to say we go as the corners and safeties go. We're not going as the D-line goes anymore. But the D-line is still going to be impactful because the back end is our best strength of probably the entire team.
Now they're not playing soft, right? They're going to probably get up and do a little more man press.
Yep.
And here's something I look forward to. No tight end on this side, on Will McDonald's side. Quinnen lined up in the B gap to crash down on that guard. Sherwood or Quincy coming right through that gap, and then Will on the outside. You got to pick your poison, right? Offensive linemen are usually told, block inside first. Now you got Will coming free. You're going to design ways to get free, right? You have someone, maybe you have Quincy or Sherwood both blitz. Free one of them up on Will's side. The other one hits the center, so the center can't drop out. They can't shift over. And you create ways to free up your best rushers. Now, if you respect Will McDonald enough and the tackle still pops out with him, now you got Quincy or Sherwood through the B gap, clear shot right at the quarterback. So
Quincy is another one to me who is an X factor in a way because of exactly like you just said. We talked about a 3rd and 6 against Josh Allen earlier. You give that guy 1.8, 2.1 seconds to make a decision, and he has 56 coming through the B gap and then 9 coming off the edge, preferably on Josh Allen's right side, so against the right tackle, so Josh can escape to the right and do that improvising, I'm just going to run and almost jump out of bounds and throw it 43 yards to Khalil Shakir, and nobody can stop it. So the combination of those two guys, Quincy and Will McDonald, being X factors, and then you add in Sauce, AZ, Brandon Stevens, playing within that 2.5 yards of the line of scrimmage and jamming, that two-hand punch that AZ has that Aaron Glenn talked about. When I watched it on film, I'm like, it might be boom or bust, and some wide receivers can manipulate it. But if that works for AZ Thomas, we have 2 islands now on the outside. You are not going to be able to throw with a ton of success against our outside guys. Then you have Michael Carter in the slot, who's going to stop all the two-way goes that their slot slot receivers have. So to me, the cornerbacks are what is going to intrigue me the most about this defense. But yeah, let's dial up those 5-man pressures, 6-man pressures. Let's run a double A gap mug look
Yeah.
and not drop everybody out, right?
Yeah.
Let's actually send at least one, if not two of those guys.
And if
because
the
it
quarterback
shortens-
wants to break the pocket, guess what? You got Jermaine Johnson and Will McDonald there who can get
Yeah.
out to the sideline and track these guys down. It's not like they're just going to have the quarterback jogging away anymore, and we don't have guys that can get there. We got speed everywhere. Quinnen's fast for a D tackle. You got Jermaine and Will, who are Will expected to be a little bit bigger and bulkier, maybe can handle run blocking better, and then also break off of that. He's quick enough where should get a lot of holding calls, right? He starts getting those sacks, and now when they go to run and they try to stretch run his side, and that tackle's grabbing him, you're going to see it.
especially when the
Uh,
quarterback flees the pocket. As soon as Josh Allen leaves the pocket, Spencer Brown doesn't know that, but Will McDonald sees it, and he's cutting to the outside to follow. And now Spencer Brown has to hold him, so he can't get to Josh Allen. Those are the little nuances and coaching-based things that if you see that out of this team, I'm already smiling because it's going to look so much better when we sit there at 1 o'clock and watch the Jets play. And that's what gets me intrigued the most is although it is very unknown, you can tell Steve Wilks knows what the hell he's doing. Let's be honest. He's been around the game far too long for him to not be a good coach. I think he's a damn good coach. And that's why Aaron Glenn chose somebody with experience on the defensive side. You have a ton of blue chip or red chip, I call them, talents on defense. Sauce, Quinnen, Quincy, even Cisco I would consider a red chip. Will McDonald's growing himself into a red chip. Jermaine is almost a blue chip. If he didn't get hurt last year, he would have had his breakout. So there's way too much talent on this defense to not put them in beneficial spots. And if you have to rely on your back end to hold up an extra second in coverage or make that pass break up at the last second, play through the hands of the receiver on a deep ball, I know that they have that capability. We saw that under Saleh. Now, you get Sauce Gardner to turn his head a half 4 yards before the ball gets there. Those pass breakups turn into interceptions, right? So those are the little nuances where you give a quarterback less time to throw. He's making quicker, more ill-advised decisions, and you can capitalize on the back end. So to me, between the unknown of Ingstrand and the somewhat known, but let's rebound with the defense of Steve Wilks.
Yeah.
I'm almost more optimistic than you are at this point.
Yeah, we have the talent, right? Like, what did we lose from last year? We lost going into the preseason. We didn't have Adams. We had Rodgers. We had Tyron Smith. We had Morgan Moses, Tyler Conklin. We lost those four pieces. Yeah, we had Mike Williams. We lost those 4 pieces, right? You know, Williams we lost and brought in Devontae. That was obviously an upgrade. But going into the season, I think Olu, the way Tyron Smith played in the beginning of the season, Olu's an upgrade at left tackle, right? Morgan Moses, serviceable. I think we all believe that Membu, if not by mid-season, maybe sooner, will be one of the better right tackles, right? You're drafted that high as a right tackle. You better be like, Tristan Wirfs. You're going to be a top right tackle in this league immediately.
This is the third highest player drafted on this team, by the way. It's Sauce at 4, or Quinnen at 3, Sauce at 4, and then Membu at 7 overall. So he was drafted 3 slots higher than even Garrett Wilson. So the expectation should be set very high for Membu, and I do think he can get to that mark.
Yeah. You look at the upgrades that we made, and last year going into the season, many people, myself included, said on paper it was the most talented roster we had ever had, right? Rodgers wasn't what we thought he would be. The scheme wasn't what we thought it would be. It inhibited Hall. Now you're looking at a scheme where Hall should be one of the features in it. Your offensive tackles are upgraded. AVT year 2, after playing healthy last year for the first time really in his career. Tippmann
He's an
going
X-factor
into year
for
3.
sure.
I don't believe there's a competition at center. I think they're using that
No
to
way.
get Tippmann to another level, and like, hey, your job ain't guaranteed. And you kind of, when you're a coach, you kind of pick someone to motivate, but you're also letting everyone else know, hey, nothing is given here. Nothing's taken for granted. So that could be their thing that they're kind of playing up to the rest of the locker room. Like, hey, you're not guaranteed just because what once was will still be. You look at the receivers. they all complement one another. We have top end speed. We haven't had top end speed since Robbie Anderson. We haven't had someone that the safeties have to worry about getting past them. So when you got safeties who are 6'2", 220 and hit like fucking trucks, it's easy for them to play the game when they're flying forward. Now they have to worry about going back, which we haven't presented in a very long time. So there's layers to it that we haven't had. There's talent up front on the line that we haven't had in 15 years. Defensively, we got a great secondary. It's one of the better secondaries. Sauce is, if not the best, in the top 3 cornerbacks in the league. Michael Carter's the top 3 nickelback. Stevens has good length. He's questionable. Thomas has some skill set coming in as a fourth, who will probably see a bunch of time, right? You might devise some packages where Steven even moves to like maybe a deep safety. You go 3 safeties deep. You move Stevens back and bring Thomas in. They're going to get creative with it. When you draft a guy in the 3rd round, that fucking guy is playing. How he's playing, we don't know. It's a little confusing that they signed Stevens and then draft Thomas, but there's going to be packages where he's out there. They're both out there together. There's going to be some creativity, and we haven't seen a lot of that. And when we did see creativity, guess what? We were top 5 defense in the league.
Yeah, I would love to see them find a way to get 6 DBs on the field a ton, because then you have Sauce and AZ on the boundary, Michael Carter in the slot. You can bring Malachi Moore into the box because he kind of was that star player at Alabama. And then you have Stevens and Cisco playing the split field, responsibilities at safety.
A lot of length.
Yeah, if you're playing like the Bengals, we'll go back to the Bengals in week 8. And if you don't have a fully healthy Jermaine Johnson, you need to get more DBs on the field to offset that lack of upfront presence, right? So if you can get into a big nickel or even a dime look, and you have Stevens and Carter and AZ and Sauce playing your true corner roles, and then you have the split safeties up top, I would love to see them utilize these 6 DBs in some way, shape, or form. Malachi Moore, to me, I think he, in a year or two, he's going to take the green dot from Jamien Sherwood. That's kind of my hot take on Malachi Moore. Brian Branch wore it in Detroit under Aaron Glenn's system, and immediately he, compared him and talked about Brian Branch when talking about Malachi Moore. So if he does hit the ground running, and he's recovered from that groin injury, it seems like he was, fully healthy during OTAs. So if he's healthy and willing, week 1 to play a larger role, this is just going to speak volumes to him. And I think by year 2 or 3, he's got the green dot on the back of his helmet where he's the communicator of the defense. And that was another thing that lacked last season. We didn't have Michael Carter. We didn't have CJ Mosley for most of that. Those are your two biggest. Right? Yeah, those are your 2 smartest communicators on the defense, Carter and Mosley, in my opinion. And without them, you're relying on Jamien Sherwood, who did step up, and he did take that leadership role and earned himself a $15 million a year contract. That's all well and good.
I had coaching staff that never coached them. They saw the film and said, we have to get this guy. We cannot let him hit the market. Which says to me, the plan that they have is, holy shit, we're going to need speed. This guy can do what we're going to require. We cannot even let him hit the open market, or we're going to lose him.
Nope. And he's another one. He's got that sideline to sideline speed, just like Quincy does. They're 2 of the same type of linebacker, and I understand redundancy is not great. And I think the linebackers overall are different in Aaron Glenn's scheme than they are Robert Saleh's. But the fact that they immediately went and paid Jamien Sherwood, it speaks volumes to the talent that they think he has and the upside that they think he has in this defense. So I'm really excited for Wood.
Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't already, hit the like button. We're here with Dylan Terraman. Also, pinned, last chance, hit his link. Go subscribe if you haven't already. I'm going to drop the call-in link. Dylan, how much longer do we have you for?
Let's do like 10, 15 minutes. That cool?
All right. Perfect. I didn't think I would have you when the Knick game was over, but it looks like the Knicks decided not to show up. Maybe they're watching the show right now. It's very, very bad for Knicks fans in Indiana. And I
What's the current score? I can't watch. What's the current score?
They're down 20.
The Knicks are down 20?
They're down 20.
Oh,
13 right now. Mounting a little bit of a comeback at the end of the half. It was 55-35, but they went on a little bit of a 10-3 run there. It's 58-45 at the half.
Oh, God. Yeah, let's do like 15, 20 more minutes. I got a Boy Green show in the morning at 7:30, so I do have to be up somewhat early, and then I got a 9:15 tea time, so I got a busy morning tomorrow.
Nice. Nice. I wanted to go golfing. My clubs are. I just bought a truck this week. My clubs are in the old car, which is still at the dealership, and I'm taking a ride down tomorrow to the dealership to get the car. But I got to get out. Where are you located, by the way? I know you
South
said you're.
Carolina now. I just
Are you?
moved. Yeah, I'm in upstate Spartanburg, South Carolina. So right by Greenville County. Spartanburg, it's its own county, but Greenville is like the more popular one.
Okay.
The Michelin factory and BMW plant. Those are the two biggest attractors
Oh yeah.
to this area. Yeah.
Nice. Nice. David D, one of our resident Detroit Lions fans, who's a great supporter of the channel. He won an autographed CJ Mosley jersey and which I have right here on the desk, a mini Joe Klecko helmet autographed on Connor Long's channel.
I got my
And
mini Joe Klecko
he
from-
sent it
from
to,
Jake.
to me and my son. So my son has the Mosley jersey. I kept the helmet. And David, you're an awesome man. Thank you.
That's dope.
And I appreciate your support. And he said, Nick and Dylan, this is a great segment. David, that gets you 15 raffle entries, my friend. So thank you for your support and good luck, man. And
Hell
yeah,
yeah.
it's great talking with Dylan. Like I said, when Dylan's on other shows, I make it a point to watch. I listen. You know, when you and Buffalo were on together, it was on Mondays.
Yeah, we do Mondays on his show, and then he just did my very first live stream episode on my channel
Nice.
last Thursday night. So he's now reciprocating the energy back, and it's gonna probably be like a 1-for-1. We'll go like 2 shows a month on each person's channel, especially once I'm monetized, because then we can just split all the revenue we make together. So between
Nice.
Buffalo and Jake, man, I can't thank them enough for their support. Obviously, the chat is the number one support, but
Yeah.
you too. You're creeping up as that third, and Boy Green too. Like all these content guys, you guys have been extremely. I don't know. I don't even know the word. I'm just so grateful for all the love that I'm getting. It's
They're
truly
very,
incredible.
very supportive community, and they have an eye for talent, and they have an eye for bullshit. And if you are a bullshitter, and they will sniff it out immediately, and that'll be like, oh, you know what? I can't watch this guy. But I've never heard anyone say a bad word about you. Like everyone says, Dylan's coming on. It's going to be a great segment. Dylan's on Jake today. I got to watch that show. Oh, I missed Dylan was on there. I got to go watch it. So you like I said, man, you are skyrocketing to success, and it won't be long before you're doing everything that you want to do on here. And
Appreciate
anything
that.
I can
Imagine
ever
if
do
this
to
team
help
was
you
good,
grow
though.
or expose, let me know.
Hell yeah, man. Imagine if this team was good, though. Like, could you imagine all of us? Business would be booming in the Jets content communities. And it's truly incredible the passion that the fans have to stick through all the hard times. And I can't wait until this team is good and everybody can just bask in it and
Nate's
thrive.
back. Nate's back at halftime.
Oh, there it is.
I didn't want to
Oh,
say
like-
names, Nate. I didn't want to say names.
I like Nick Faria. He's a little optimistic, of course, but
Everything
no.
relates back to Philly, though. Everything relates
Sure.
back to Philly. Like, bro, you're on a Jets show. Try to stay
Yeah.
focused. You're paid
Yep.
to cover the Jets. We know you're a
Oh,
fan.
Although I'll
But
say I'd rather be the Eagles B team than the Lions B team, if I'm being completely honest. So I do like the comparisons because he can draw back on areas where the Jets can be like the Eagles, but maybe a little too much because we don't have all the talent that Philadelphia has for sure.
Yeah. But listen, what did they do? They went out. They got Becton. They solidified their line. They let Becton go after 1 year. Super Bowl, 1 year, let him go. And they put more investments in, right? Like you're looking at the Jets now. Let's talk a little bit down the road. AVT, in theory, could be in the last year of his contract with the Jets. They picked up the option. There's no extension yet. Simpson, last year of his deal. This could be a team that just keeps replenishing, say we upgrade a guard. If one of these guys, you sign one of them maybe, and you draft a long-term replacement at the other one. You bring in your type of guy, your identity. If they don't fit. If you had to pick one of these guys based off of what they do well and what they don't do well, who do you think would be the guy to sign long-term, either AVT or Simpson?
Oh, that is such a tough question because I think there's so many
Different types of
positives.
players, right? They play
Yeah,
the same
yeah.
position, but they are complete polar opposites with how they play the position. I always say
Yes.
Simpson's your mauler, AVT
Yep.
is your technician.
Yes, if you're running a power or a gap scheme offense, which we thought they were going to do more in the last season with the Salo regime, I think that Simpson would be the guy, right? He's your mauler. He's also brings that leadership to the offensive line. He's the oldest guy in the room. Doesn't necessarily mean you keep him because he's the oldest, but he's only 28, maybe 29 by the end of the season. So he still has a ton of years ahead of him. Now, if you're telling me you want to do the zone scheme, AVT is your guy. And then he brings in the young element. So he's got the age behind him where you can give him a 4-year deal and not really feel bad about it because he might be touching 30 by the time he gets there. The extension for John Simpson is probably going to be 2 to 3 years max, right? I don't see them giving John Simpson a 4-year deal. So push comes to shove without seeing them in the new system. I would say AVT right now, but I am almost split 50-50 just based on what kind of scheme they're going to run. And somebody in the chat says Brees is a zone scheme back. I agree. But the other guys behind him, I think, are gap and power scheme backs in Braylon Allen and Isaiah Davis. I don't see them, leaning towards the outside shoulder of the tackle, putting their foot in the ground and going up through the hole. They could do that, but I think they're more downhill rushers. Let's get those duo blocks, that trap block going. So I would say right now, John Simpson, I would lean for the power AVT zone. But if I'm only picking one, I'm picking AVT because of the age and the upside. If he can stay healthy for one more season, now that's 2 full seasons with, the ACL, or what was it, ACL and then the triceps in back-to-back years, which 2 completely separate injuries also. So it's not a matter of every year he's suffering a lower leg injury that is going to affect him at the position. But tricep is huge too, man. You can't tear your tricep as an offensive lineman, be able to do those reach blocks and really feel confident about it. So I think AVT would be the guy that I lean towards.
Okay. Now I'm a numbers guy. I'm going to give you 3 options. Break it down to, through 100%. They re-sign both, they re-sign one, or they re-sign none. How would you break that down?
15%, they re-sign both. I think that's the lowest of the 2 options because if this coaching staff is as confident as they say they are, you're going to let at least one of those guys walk, draft a rookie, or, get a B or C tier free agent like they did with John Simpson and get the most out of him. So I would say 15% they keep both, or they keep one. Excuse me. I would say, 50% they don't keep either. I do think there's an element of this coaching staff that they think, wait, what did I say? 15%? 15% they left. Yeah. And then 35% is the last one. So I'd say 50% is the leader in the clubhouse where both of them walk for different reasons, whether it's age with Simpson, injury history with AVT, not fitting the scheme with AVT. So I could see a situation where there's 2 different guards in the fold, or there's a guard on our team that they feel confident about. Maybe it's, Josh Myers in a new position, or even Tittman in a new position. I wouldn't necessarily love that, but I think the confidence of the coaching staff is going to be the differentiator in that equation of how many guys on the expiring contracts make it back. Or do they just say, let's just keep going and getting younger and faster at the positions, and we can bet on our coaching staff? Who's our offensive line coach? Steve Hinden, the tight ends coach, the former tight ends coach, I should say. If he's worth his weight, then you're probably going to see 2 new guards in 2026.
Yeah, and for me, when I look at it, right, I like AVT. I want my guard to be fucking nasty. Like, I want, like, you look what Becton did in the playoffs, right? He punched the linebacker, and the linebacker fell on his ass, and Barkley took it 65 yards for a touchdown.
Yep.
I don't see that with AVT. I want a guy that we can, I like AVT. I think AVT would be a good right tackle. One of the theories that I had was move him out to right tackle since he's a technician and go get me a nasty mauler at guard. But now that you have Membo at right tackle, I want that whole side of the line to be nasty maulers that when we got to run, like the old school Dallas Cowboys, right? When you knew they were going to run the ball, you couldn't do a goddamn thing about it because if those guys got their hands on you, you were going backwards no matter how great you were. I want that. I want Membo and another, like a 6'6", nasty, 335-pound guy next to him where 3rd and 3, and guess what? We can run it to the right side, and we can still get it. Olu's like your the Brickashaw Ferguson. He's not an overpowering run blocker. He's a very good pass protector, but I want that right side to be absolute dogs that can just blow people back, and you can't do a goddamn thing about it. We're gonna run the ball. We're gonna get our yards. We're gonna go back to the huddle on 1st down, and we're gonna do it again.
100%.
So I
From
like
center to right
AVT.
tackle,
I don't know
kick
if
him
he
out of the club.
fits the ideology and the image that they want with this line. They're telling you with drafting Membu the type of offensive lineman they want.
Yeah, cut on that Oklahoma game from Armand Membu, and on the very first play, he is chucking second-level defenders out of the vision of the all-22, and that's what you need from center to right tackle. I completely agree. You don't want to know who's going to be throwing you out of the club because all of them have the potential to do it. AVT, yes, he has that ability to sustain on run blocks and allow for the back to cut up his inside shoulder and go. But he doesn't have that mentality where he's just going to play through the whistle and really get in your face and then stand up and say, let's go do it again. So, yeah, to me, and that's not even a knock on AVT. It's just all schematics, right? So if you get him in a zone blocking scheme like the San Francisco 49ers per se, I think that's a really good scheme for AVT. Not so much this potential scheme of let's be more downhill physical up front. And that's what I think they want to be. I know last year they kind of teased it to us, and they were still pretty 50-50 zone and gap schemes. I don't necessarily think they changed a ton. And when shit hit the fan, we didn't have a run scheme anyway, so it didn't really matter. But yeah, AVT to me, he doesn't show the consistent, nasty mauler streak where almost everybody else on the line does. Even Joe Tippmann has a bit of a nasty streak, which is kind of funny because he's a 6'6" center, and you would think his length doesn't play well into that. But he has that ability too. He's probably the second least mauler type on your offensive line. And I even think Fashanu has some elements of mauler in him, although he is a very good pass protector like Brick was. So I agree with that. Let's see more nasty out of AVT before we extend him.
Okay. Chat, if you guys have any questions, we're sitting here with Dylan. Fire away. We got him for a few more minutes.
Our
Let
buddy
me ask
Dave
you
and
contracts. We got a lot of guys up. Jermaine, Garrett, Sauce, all got their options picked up. AVT is in the last year of his deal. Brees is in the last year of his deal. All 5 of these guys have been picked in the first or early second round, right? They're all top 35 picks. How many of these guys do you think are on this team long term? How many of these guys get extensions?
Well, Garrett and Sauce, if they're not extended by like the first week of June, they hold their mandatory minicamp June 10th through 12th, and then they get the cap relief from Rodgers and Mosley on June 2nd. They go from a cap number of 36.3 to 13.5, so they get 22.8 million in cap relief, according to Rich Cimini. That is money that everybody's like, oh, go get a defensive tackle, go get a wide receiver too, go get an edge presence, whatever. No, that's what you're going to use to pay Sauce and Garrett before mandatory minicamp. Everybody has
Would
been
that
tweeting it on.
change this year? I thought if they signed the extension, since they picked up the
money doesn't change.
It wouldn't go
this
into
year.
2026, right?
Yes, every extension starts at the end
In
after
year
the
5.
5th year.
You rip up the option, and then it takes over next year.
Yep.
I think they wait, and the reason
You
I
do?
think they
Okay.
wait,
I think they
especially
wait
Sauce.
on Sauce. I would think that they wait more on Sauce, but I would love it if within the first week of June both get done. Garrett has to be done. Please don't go into mandatory minicamp without Garrett getting his $125 million deal, in my opinion. Sauce they probably might wait on because they want to see if his tackling improves. But Will Parkinson of Badlands said that he put on weight and he's now hovering over 200 pounds. If that's the case with Sauce Gardner, maybe you pay him early too because you just know he's going to be that much better. So those 2 guys are the priority. Brees, Jermaine, that's where it gets real dicey. AVT gets real dicey. Quincy Williams gets real dicey. And John Simpson. Those are like the 6 guys to me where I truly don't know what their plan is until they see them in the scheme. Yeah. But there's a path for all of them to get deals with the Jets. Now, do I think all of them happen?
If we win, say we win 10, just for discussion, you win, you're keeping these guys.
Oh,
If,
absolutely.
if you win 5 games, all right, didn't work. We got to let some of you go, and we're going to bring in
Yeah.
our guys.
And
So,
that's the hedging their bets part of it, right?
Yeah.
They're not going to pay everybody this summer just because they like them or we like them as fans. We've been here a lot longer than they have. They're very new to this. They want to see these guys in their scheme before they dole out money, except for the Jamie and Sherwood, which is obviously a different circumstance. I would say Brees gets the franchise tag almost regardless of what happens. It's so hard for me to justify, or you give him like a mini 2-year extension where it's basically if you franchise tagged him twice, whatever those
Okay.
cap figures would be, you give him like
3 years, 32, right?
2
Whatever.
for 2 for 28 or 2 for 32 type of deal where it's minimal and you can still ride them till the wheels fall off like we think they're going to do this year. Jermaine, it depends. If he comes back 100% healthy by week 4 and he has a 3/4 season of dominance, yes, that's great. A half
Yeah.
season of dominance, you still kind of think it's worth extending because they can extend him at any time. There's no deadline for extensions. A lot of teams don't love to do it in the middle of the season, but
Yeah.
nothing would hit better than a bye-week tweet saying Jermaine Johnson signed an extension with the Jets. And then all those figures don't come into play until 2 years down the road because they've already exercised the 5th-year option for 2026. So now you're talking about the cap isn't really getting affected until 27, 28. And we would assume that by that time, Justin Fields is either the guy or they have a rookie quarterback on a rookie deal who is offsetting all those high contracts. So I would prioritize it Garrett, Sauce, Jermaine, AVT. AVT/Simpson, whichever one we think.
Okay.
And then Brees. I think Brees would be the last of my priorities only because of positional value and because we don't know exactly how dominant he's going to be in this offense. If they do that split, like you're saying, if it's 60-40 or like 60-30-10 with the running back splits, that's not conducive for Brees to get a new contract. And he's going to kind of do the James Cook thing where he's kind of sitting waiting for a deal. James Cook also can't pass block.
Yeah.
Brees can. We know that he can. So there's an element of Brees where he's more of a well-rounded player. So I would like to see Brees get the franchise tag, but everybody else, I think there's definitely a case for them getting extended.
Okay. David with a question. Cisco comes to mind as a player the Jets might want to sign to a multi-year contract if he at least meets the expectations of the Jets team brass. Now, go ahead. You take this. What do you think?
That's why they gave him a 1-year deal. They wanted to see what he could do in their system, and they obviously can get out of it if it doesn't work. But if he brings that ball hawking, I'm going to go up and take the ball away mentality where he's had 4 picks in his first 4 seasons or 8 picks in his first 4 seasons. If he brings that element to the Jets, which we have not had since Kerry Rhodes, maybe it feels like it's been so long since we've
I
had
feel
a
like
guy.
Marcus May had a couple
he
in one
would be
season.
the
I'd have to
closest.
check the numbers, but I feel May had a couple plays.
Yeah, he would be the next best option at safety in the last whatever this drought has been, 15 years.
Yeah.
So if Cisco is closer to the Kerry Rhodes, Marcus May mold, give him a 2-year deal, maybe even a 3-year deal because of his age. He's still very young. This is his technical second contract, but it was a 1-year deal. So it's a very prove it type number. I think it was 10 million with 8 something guaranteed or something like that. So they're not putting a ton of eggs in the basket, but the way they talk about him, if he could be that single high roamer and play sideline to sideline, you give that guy a 2 to 3 year deal and you don't look back.
Yeah, and are him and Moore the same position? Are they
Malachi Moore? No, I would say
Yeah.
Malachi Moore is more of a box guy. He
Okay.
played all over the formation at Alabama. He was their star defender, which is the Brian Branch role. So he was down in the box. He was playing a lot of slot man. He was playing split safety. He was playing single high. Single high was probably the least he played in 2020. Everything up until 2024. In 2024, they used him as more of a traditional safety. So maybe the element of having Michael Carter stops him from being more versatile than he is. But there's a world where Malachi Moore can give you 4 different positions on defense at any given time, where Cisco, I'd say he's more of your traditional single high roamer or split field safety where he's just going to play on the back end.
Okay.
I don't know
See
if I want to
Tony
see
Adams?
Cisco in the box a ton.
how big of a role do you see Tony Adams playing? Now they did tender him, right? They wanted him here. With everything you're saying about Moore and his abilities, and then Cisco on the back end, how do you see Tony Adams' role playing out for this team?
It's crazy. How does Tony Adams go from being benched by the owner essentially to getting tendered for $3 million and then, projecting as a starter until Malachi Moore comes in? I would say his role would be more of the Malachi Moore where he's down in the box. I
Okay.
think back to that Eagles game where he got the interception in man coverage against Jalen Hurts to ice the game. If you can stick him one-on-one with like a power slot or a big tight end, I'm okay with that. I don't love him as like more of the traditional safety role, but he can play it. That's why I'm such an advocate for Malachi Moore being the starter, because Tony is probably like that perfect rotational third safety.
Yeah.
And then if you move
Yeah.
Stevens back to safety, he's your fourth guy. So you're not really depending on too much for him. So my expectations for Adams aren't very high, but yeah, he's more of that box safety or like roamer, that robber in cover one type, or man in the slot type, more so than I want to see him playing sideline to sideline, taking away the ball, because he just didn't have a knack for it
Yeah.
last year unless he was closer to the line of scrimmage.
He looks
He's
lost
20
at
yards.
times.
Oh yeah, and if you're
Looks
on the
lost.
back end, looking lost, it's not good. And if
Yeah.
you're taking poor angles in the run game
That's
and doing those things as well, like I know him and Ashton Davis were just very bad at taking angles at times. Yeah, it's not conducive for a good play time numbers.
Yeah.
So I would hope that he's the third safety entering preseason.
okay. So you think Moore is going to win the job?
I hope so. Yeah, if he's healthy,
Okay.
I think there's a really good chance he wins the job,
Okay. I like it.
which gives you 3 potential day one starters with Membu, Taylor, Moore, and then you have that 3.5 to 4 with AZ Thomas. I think AZ Thomas
Yeah.
can come in by midseason and stop. Like you can't keep me on the bench any longer, coach. I got to go in. Whether Stevens is playing well or not, I just think AZ is going to be playing way better than most people are expecting. He should not have been there at 73. Like it's absolutely nuts to me that he made it there, and
Yeah.
you understand why. And AG talks about it. Go up there and choke him out. I don't think Stevens can do that. AZ can.
Okay. And I mean, you see what this team wants to do, right? You see Glenn, 2 of the first 4 picks, right? As much as we all said defensive tackle, they went the opposite. They
Mhm.
went safety and corner with 2 of the first 4 picks with Moore and Thomas. Say we play dime. How do you see the dime defense working out? Like, how do you see them doing that? Do you think they use Moore as like that guy who walks up and maybe covers someone, or do you see them having Stevens? Who can play inside if they go 4 wide, basically? How are we matching that up?
I'm going Sauce and AZ on the perimeter.
Okay.
I'm going Michael Carter and Malachi Moore in the slot. I'm going Andre Cisco, and I'm writing this down as I'm looking so I remember.
Yeah.
Cisco as the split safety next to Brandon Stevens. That's how I would play
Okay.
it. So Malachi Moore would be opposite Michael Carter, get him back into that star, quote unquote, defender position that he played for 3 of his 4 seasons in college, that Brian Branch type role. And then you give Stevens a position that's important on the back end where he and Cisco can use their length to get across the formation and break up the pass if needed. Again, I don't think you're going to need them much because the corners up front are just going to jam everybody. But I would say Malachi Moore is in the slot as that fourth, I guess, like second slot opposite of Michael Carter.
Okay. Stack had a question. Do you think Cowart makes the roster?
I think he makes the roster. Yeah. I had somebody comment on one of my, I did a Leonard Taylor III breakdown, and somebody suggested I do Byron Cowart next because there's kind of some steam. I know Zach Rosenblatt said that he might be the leader in the clubhouse to be the starter opposite Quinnen. Again, I'm obviously not at practice, but I don't think that that's necessarily truthful from Zach. I think it would be Noddy first, and then I would hope that Leonard Taylor gets the second bid as that third rotational guy, and then Byron Cowart can come in. He was only a
He had a
rotational
sack the other
starter.
day.
Yeah, he was doing really good in
the other day.
OTAs. Yeah, he was
created
creating a ton of pressure.
Him and the rookie Barron both
Yep,
had
he
sacks
was,
on the drive.
he was a rotational guy last year for Chicago until about week 12, and he was only getting about like 12 to 15 snaps up until that point. So I turned on his all 22 actually earlier today, and I watched 3 games, weeks 12, 13, and 14. He played, I forget who the first game was, but then he played Minnesota, and I'm already blanking on who the hell the names were. I don't remember whatsoever. But he only had one clippable play against the run, and it wasn't even like he made a good play. The left guard just was reaching on his own block. He cut inside, swam, moved him, and got a TFL for tackle for loss. So to me, Cowart, I haven't seen enough with my own eyes to say that he should be a starter. But is he going to make the roster? Yeah, absolutely. He should be probably your 5th defensive tackle at worst. Like Tufele, I don't see him being the guy. Let's go Quinnen, Noddy, LT3, Fedarian Mathis too. He's in the mix, and then Byron Cowart. Those are probably the 5 that I would take today on my defensive.
And it's fitting because LT3 is your 3rd DT. So
100%.
it kind of works together.
100%. And he has so much optimism. Like when I put out that video of him, it's a 30-minute clip.
Man. He's motivated because when we didn't draft a defensive tackle and Jets Twitter
he tweeted
was
it
going
right
nuts,
away.
He did. He was like, it was something like remember this or prove them wrong. It was some sort of thing like, all right, I see what you're all saying.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking forward to him because he goes from undrafted. He showed flashes, right? He's quick. He can get in. He can beat the guard with his first step. He can penetrate and get into the backfield quickly. Now you learn how to play the position. Now you're getting coached up in a different scheme, which might be more beneficial to you. This type of attack that we all expect to see. I think this guy can really, really jump and improve. And if he can become a guaranteed 3D tackle rotation, that's great for us. I think the Knicks are not doing well, or they're doing great right now because my roommate upstairs is losing his fucking mind.
and the rotation's not going to be so heavy this year, right? It's not going to be 4 plays and the starters come off the field. We might see the starters, 70+% of the snaps along the defensive line. So the role, it might not necessarily be there in terms of volume, but that might actually help a guy like Leonard Taylor III. He's actually, his film breakdown that I did on my channel, it was about 30 minutes long. I clipped out like 13 or 14 plays of him, run and pass. I came away so optimistic about him that I almost feel like he's closer to defensive tackle 2 than anything else that we have in the room because, again, we just haven't seen enough of it. I don't think Noddy has enough sand in his pants against the run. He's an okay, pass rush guy.
He's stout. He doesn't get moved very often. He's stout, but he's not the type to throw you off and go make the play.
Mm-hmm.
He's not going to get beat at the point of attack, right? Like he stalemates, lets the other guys flow to the ball, and if someone cuts back, then he'll detach and go make the play.
Yep.
So
if you get 4 hands on Noddy,
we've been getting blown up
good
too
is
much
happening.
up the middle, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like we haven't had a stout guy. It's all been Solomon Thomas. JFM was like our bigger defensive
Javon
tackle.
Kinlaw.
Yeah, like these guys were getting blown up at the point of attack, and they were like, "We're going to run right at you because they can't fucking stop it."
100%.
Noddy will stalemate the hole. He will prevent you from going that route, which then allows the linebackers to make plays, allows the other gaps to get penetrated. But when you're running the ball through the B gap and your defensive tackle gets blown out to the wide 9, now you're getting 4 or 5 yards.
Or he's in the backfield because he just wants to go after the quarterback so badly that he doesn't.
And they
care
chip
about
the shoulder. They let you go upfield and then run underneath it. And now your guard is not even. He punches the D tackle. Then he gets to the guard, and now it's a gash, 8-10 yard run before the safety comes up and makes the play.
Every time, dude. And that's what I saw a lot of on watching Leonard Taylor III. He was the first current Jet that I did a film breakdown of. So it was my first time really going back. I watched all 266 snaps of Leonard Taylor. Like I went in for the last week and I was drawing up all the plays and stuff. It was honestly the most engagement I got on any of my YouTube videos so far. I got over 2,000 views and it's worth it. LT3 is worth the watch. I think he's actually going to be, like I said, closer to DT2 than anything else. But with Noddy, if he can't win, if he can hold the point of attack against the double team, that's great because now somebody's one-on-one. If he can't get past and stack and shed a one-on-one block, or at least put his arm out and grab the running back as he goes through the B gap, then it's kind of cooked for Nadi,
Yeah.
right? LT3, I saw elements of both. He was able to stack and shed against one-on-one, but he was able to hold the point of attack against a double team and allow somebody else like Will McDonald or Quinton Williams to win. So I'm really excited for how that room kind of rounds out. But yeah, I think between Cowart, LT3, and Nadi, you're going to get some solid production.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, Dylan, you stayed longer than you signed up for.
I had my
I
coffee
appreciate you
too.
for that. Yeah, nice. When are you on live this week? Thursday night is your live night?
No, because I don't want to step on Glenn's toes with Jet Nation. He does his Jet Nation radio, Jet Nation live on Thursday nights, so I want to give respect to Glenn. I'm trying to figure it out. Buffalo kind of hit me up last week, and he's like, tonight might be the best night to have your Canadian Jets friend on a pod. So I was like, all right, let's fire it up. Let's do it. But I got an intro video from Gator. Very appreciative of that.
Nice.
Shout out to you, Gator. So I'm trying to figure out the day that I'm going to do it, and it might not be consistent every day, and they might not always be live shows, but I'm going to try to put out a 30 to 45-minute episode once a week, once I kind of figure out the flow of everybody's schedules, because I don't like going live when somebody else is going live. Like, you guys have your time, I'll take my time when I can get it. So I'll figure all that out, but I'll definitely post more of like a schedule on my YouTube page. I'll like make a post about it, and then
Okay.
like I'm already thinking about the in-season content schedule. Like, what am I going to do Sunday, Monday nights, Tuesday film reviews? Like, how is that all going to work out? So the first week and a half is just like it's been such like a grind of just putting videos out, but also then trying to schedule everything out the right way. So I would say maybe Tuesdays or Wednesdays will be the show. I like having my Fridays off where I don't need to go live for an hour. But yeah, I would say Tuesdays or Wednesdays I'm soft circling as the days. Give me enough time to watch the film if we're after a game, but it also gives me enough time to prepare content after the weekend when we get all those news dumps and the Rich Cimini reports on Sunday mornings and everything like that. So I would say Tuesdays or Wednesdays.
Okay. Awesome. And if you're on Discord, hit me up, Nick Shine, and I'll add you to my Discord. And this way, you can promote in there and everything, and let everyone know and drop your videos in there. That, like I said, this is a very awesome supporting group, and they love the Jet content. Even in May, there's playoff game going on. The Met Dodger game is going on, and people are still in the chat here. So
yeah, 2K views on my LT3 video in May. Like we're diehards here. We're in the weeds of this shit. So I'm again super appreciative. I'll definitely join the Discord. I'm in Jake's Discord. I'm in the Badlands Discord. So I'm all over those Discords trying to just promote. Cross promotion is great. I can't wait to have you on my show eventually. This is the first of many shows with us.
Absolutely, man.
I met you. What was that? The Chargers game in 2023, and you've been an incredible
Jets outing.
Yep. Yeah, you've been an incredible support ever since. So I greatly appreciate that, man. Thank you.
No worries, man. Well, I thank you for coming on. Thank you for your time. And we will definitely be talking more, and we'll have you on as we get into training camp and in season. We'll try to work something out where we maybe do some breakdowns here. So Dylan, thank you so much, man, for your time. If you haven't already, guys, go over, subscribe to Dylan. I know I posted the link earlier. If you go back to the beginning of the show, it's there. But Dylan, thank you so much, man.
Nick, I appreciate it greatly. Chat, you guys are the best. I'll see you, I'm sure, in all the different, videos. I see every single one of you guys in Jake's show every day. So I appreciate you guys always. I'm on with Boy Green tomorrow morning, so tune into that if you like BG's content, and I'll catch you guys later.
All right, bro. We'll talk soon.
Yep.
Thanks again.
Yep. Take care.
Awesome. Dylan's first time on the show. Hope you guys enjoyed that. I love listening to Dylan and getting to talk with him and get his perspective on this team and where we go. Let's see what we got. Ooh, not good in Knicks land right now. But ladies and gentlemen, the link is shared. If you want to chime in, you want to hop in, now is your time. Reminder for all of you who may have gotten here late, we have the wide receiver raffle going on. We have a Santonio Holmes full-size replica helmet. We have the Wesley Walker and Al Toon helmet, the same helmet they're both on. If you were a fan of the team in the 80s, this is going to be a great piece, very unique. We have a Wayne Corbett mini helmet. And if you gift 5 memberships, we're doing something new. Every raffle entry on Sunday night is tripled, but you can win up to 100 raffle entries if you gift 5 memberships. So good luck to all of you. Thank you for all your donations, contributions to the show, no matter what form you do it. You guys are great. But yeah, support Dylan if you haven't already. His breakdowns are great. His insight is fantastic, and he will be dominating Jets YouTube. I'm proud of him and happy that he's on his own, and looking forward to everything that he does. He obviously had a better night than the Knicks are having right now. But now that I said that, that will cue the Knicks comeback, and you guys will be happy. And Dylan, thank you for the gifted memberships as well, buddy. I appreciate you. Ladies and gentlemen, if we don't have anyone calling in, then we're going to do something that Knob Deep has never done. We're going to wrap this bad boy up. And I might go outside and have a cigar. So it's up to you, as always. If you want to call in, you want to keep the show going, feel free. If not, Nate will do backflips and cartwheels. So chat, it's up to you. And see, nobody call in. I love you, Nate. Your support is never ending, and I appreciate you. Let's see what we got here. I have not seen Boomtown in the chat. Do we have Boomtown here tonight? Oh, maybe one of our Canadians is off celebrating American holidays. Big time. I know you do, Chris. God bless you, man. You're the best, Chris. I wish Nate commented more like you instead of Nate being Nate. All right, boom. There you go. I don't know what happened. I looked for you. Oh, there you go. Look at that. All right, ladies and gentlemen, since we have no call-ins, let's wrap this up. And who would have thought that this show would be over before the Knicks season? But here we are, and it looks like it's happening. What did we learn today? I learned that you guys are still awesome, and that no matter what's going on in New York sports, you will still show up and support the show, and I'm very grateful for that. I learned that Knob is awesome, Dylan's awesome, and David D are awesome for gifting and super chats. Hey man, I went to Tim Hortons today. I was a little disappointed with the cream, not the coffee, but the cream. I'm a flavor cream guy. Oh, ladies and gentlemen, look at this. Hold your horses. The show is not done yet. Nate, suck it. Papa Jet just gifted 5 memberships. That went to the legendary Dave Briga, Paul K, MC Mays, D Van G, and AJ. Well, now, Papa Jet, thank you very much. You know what this means. You get on the wheel. On Sundays, the raffle entries are tripled. So I give 6 when you give 5. So tonight, the minimum you can get is 18. So you can win up to 100. And we're going to spin that right now to see how many you get. And I thank you, Papa, for your support. We're coming up on 24. All right. So you got a little extra. Whoa. All right. Let me pop it down for 24. Oh, man, this game is not going good. There's 2 guys in the house who are Knicks fans, and they're in the living room right above me, and it sounds like there's a fucking MMA fight going on up there right now. All right, Dylan. Papa got 24. Okay. Thank you again, Papa. For the wide receiver raffle, we will be doing the drawing on June 8th. We do 3 weeks and then we do the raffle, the drawing. So June 8th. And then after that, I'm already looking at some pieces. We have the defensive line. We're going to do the D line. And I think I'm going to go big on one or two of these gifts. And we've defensive line has been one of our more loved positional groups throughout the years. And with Klecko, Gastineau, the Sack Exchange, and then John Abraham, Sean Ellis. I'm going to look to see if I can find something with Abraham and Ellis both on it. And then maybe we find something a little newer. But I'll keep my eye out for that. Oh, our good friend, Chef Kevin, coming in. Great show, man. Thank you. What's your choice of stogie? I love Olivia. Olivia cigars. I bought a on cigarbid.com. I bought a pack of 20. We had those for the Shiner draft weekend. I have 3 or 4 of those left, but I bought a bigger Olivia today that I'm going to enjoy after this. So that's what I'll be burning. And then for those of you who watch the Jake Asman show, I will be on there with Jake tomorrow morning at 11 a.m. for a little holiday show. So I will see you guys and gals over there. Lead cut to 8. All right, so maybe it's a good thing they're stomping. It's Jake Asman, 1S ASMAN. Check him out on YouTube if you haven't already, and do yourself a favor and subscribe. It's the top YouTube show for Jets content for a reason, and I'm proud to be a part of that in whatever role I have. It's a fun time over there. It's a nice guy. He's a real nice guy. And I'm going to end the show before the Knicks come back because I do not want to be here for that. So, ladies and gentlemen, drop your what did we learn? You have 1 minute left. Oh, this is going to be fun. I'd rather listen to B-Mac and Lane talk Jets than Nick and Jake talk Knicks tomorrow. I'm just going to sit there and smile, Nate. So, Jake messaged me today. It's a funny little back and forth. I'll read to you. He's like, "Hey, are you around to join me on the show tomorrow?" I'm like, "What time?" He's like, 11. I'm like, "That works. Lock it in." He goes, "Hell yes." I'm like, "I have to check if I can get Pacers gear shipped to the house by then." He goes, "Okay, Alan." Let's see what we got here. Eminon. I learned popping on last minute to leave a take is a good thing. Oh, to leave a lake is a good thing. Well, thank you, Eminon. Oh, leave a like. All right, I was wrong on both. I appreciate you, Eminon, for popping in. Rick Kent, I learned Chris B is the greatest member of the Jets YouTube community. Awesome. Chris getting some love, well deserved. Patty Grimes, I learned Nick was right about the NBA to many missed 3. Too many missed 3s. Yeah. Teams get these leads and they just keep chucking 3s to try to extend the lead, and all it does is allow the other teams to come back. Oh, Stack with the conspiracy theory. I learned the wheel might be rigged. 24 3 times in a row. Hey, if anyone wants to give 5, we can give it another spin and see where we go from there. There are, let me see, we will sort it. There are 5 of 18, 20, 22, 24, and then there's a 30, 40, 50, 75, and 100. Tom, Jake loves Nate's hoop opinions. Nate loves everybody. Nate loves everyone. Infrared, I learned that Allen wanted us to give Hassan Reddick $30 million last year, but we still love Allen. Chris, I learned Rick Kent is the most extraordinary person I ever knew. New York Jets lifer person. Hell yeah. Rick Kent. I learned Modine is a coward and a fraud who's afraid to show up tonight. Awesome. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it's that time. It's that time. Boomtown, would you please drop? What did you learn this evening, good sir? I learned Nate is even more of a curmudgeon when the Knicks are losing. It's just hard to do because he's a pretty big fucking curmudgeon all the time. Papa Jet, thank you for your memberships too. Forgive me. And Chef Kevin, thank you for your super chat. Ladies and gentlemen, it's that time. What did the great Boomtown learn? Boomtown learned Nate might have been the guy throwing the garbage bags. Nick wishes he could be hung for a day or two. Lacrosse wins are celebrated on this channel. McDonald equals 1 sack per pound gained. Hell yeah. Bonus, high percentage chance the Knicks were watching the Nick Shine Show tonight. Stack believes the wheel may be rigged. Manish, I learned Dylan thinks every draft pick is making the Pro Bowl this year. In a perfect world, Manish. In a perfect world, my friend. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I thank you for watching the show. I appreciate your time. Continue enjoying your holiday weekend. Be safe. Be smart. Be happy. Unless you're Nate.
When you have a bad day, give up. Go home and sleep. Fuck it. Try again tomorrow.
I don't know how to put this, but I'm kind of a big deal.
Welcome, my friends. It's a shine time. Shine time. It's time to talk about the Jets. Don't you know it's shine time? Shine time. It's shine time. Time to be with my friends. Hey, have you seen my toe?
And just because I don't want to be the only one to do it, we're going to time Nate out for 24 hours. See ya, bitch! Good night, everyone. I won't do a show for 24 hours, so he doesn't really miss anything. Good night, everyone. Thank you for watching. God bless. Go Jets. God bless America and all those who made the ultimate sacrifice for our protection and our freedom. We are forever indebted to you. Good night.
It's got beef.
Gentry covered in fumble.
Any day, any night, we all shine, bro. First class shine time, the Nick Shine Show. Anytime on YouTube, if you don't know, the Nick Shine Show, the Nick Shine Show. Dim the lights, but it's still bright as Nick time. Day or night, this is his promise, Nick Shine. Proud fan, well defined, so get in line. Toe to toe with any show, he only got 9. The best show on YouTube, bro, is easy. We talk Jets all day, please believe me. Subscribe, you just gotta click a family. We not a click in 3D. You can see a beautiful DP. We see through the fake teams and the tea leaves. So we pray for a coach and a QB and hope that we close to the top in the new league. A toast to the host with the most, Nicky. Who, me? Any day, any night, we all shine, bro. First class shine time, the Nick Shine Show. Anytime on YouTube, if you don't know, the Nick Shine Show, the Nick Shine Show.
Fantastic.
And Papa Jet gifted one. So he gifted 5, so I have to gift one on top of it. I gifted one. That went to Eminon, who's here in the chat. At least he was a few minutes ago. So, good night, everyone. Thank you for watching. Enjoy the rest of the Knick game. Maybe they make a comeback. Maybe they make it a series.